everybody, it's Connie with SimplySimpleStamping.com. I'm so glad you could join me today for my video on how to create your very own catalog tabs for your brand new Stampin' Up! Catalog. The new catalog just started and we love to have our catalogs all nice and organized. These tabs are going to save you a lot of frustration of trying to find your way around the catalog. I created these last year and I was just inundated with emails asking for me to create them again. And hey, I love to do nice things for you guys because you're awesome. So let's get started with our wonderful catalog tabs. So to begin, you're going to want to print out the template. Now you can find my template at SimplySimpleStamping.com. Just look for the June 3rd, 2015 blog post. You'll be able to find it there. And just so you know, down here at the bottom, I even have some really basic cutting directions. So it's not a very difficult thing to do. Let me show you what we're gonna do to trim it down. I'm gonna bring in my Stampin' Trimmer. Remember, the trimmer has two blades. The gray one, the lighter one, that is for scoring. We don't want to score. Let's get that out of the way. The darker one is our cutting blade. We're going to start by cutting off one side at 3 inches, just like so. We're going to flip it around. Let's cut the opposite side at 3 inches, not the center section. That's really important because you can see my center section is quite a bit smaller. But there's a reason for that. It's all centered up perfectly. So we're now going to cut 1/2 inch off of the top. That's very important. Don't miss that one. And then we're going to take each one. You can see I have a 1 inch measurement right here. We're now just going to take each one of our tabs and we're going to cut each one at 1 inch. So I have all of my little tabs all cut, and I also went ahead and I put them in order. Now on SimplySimpleStamping.com, I have a complete list so that you don't have to fumble around and try to figure out what order they go in. Just follow that. Also on that list, I'm going to tell you exactly what page the tabs are going to go on. Just trying to make it really easy for you. All right, it's time to cut these. So I'm going to be using the File tab edgelets. We're going to be using this one here, the one that's just centered. It's just going to make our lives easier. Now, I will tell you, we're going to be using the magnetic platform today. I find it just makes my life super easy. And what we're going to do, I'm going to take my very first tab, and then you can see I have already set it up on the template where everything's perfectly centered. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my File tab edgelet, we're going to put it right there. Then you can see I've left just a little hair right here that's going to allow me to make sure I'm good and straight. And then what I want to do is I want to center it from side to side. So let me slide that down just a little bit because I want to make sure that's as centered as it can be. Put our cutting plate on top. We're going to run that through the Big Shot. All right, so when we lift that, that's the other great thing about having that extra tab there. You can see it cut right where I needed it to. We're going to repeat that then with all of our tabs. So the one that says Paper Basics and Envelopes, guys, I gotta tell you, it is really, really a tight fit in there. And I just wanna make sure that it's gonna fit, and I wanna make sure that I've got it as centered as I possibly can. I think you can see I'm kind of eyeballing there, but I do want to make sure that that sits right where I want it to. Again, I'll put my top cutting plate on and we'll run that through. All right, so I've got all my tabs cut, I've got them in order, and I've got my list printed here with all the page numbers, so I'm ready to go. Now you may notice I have spiral bound my catalog. I do that so that my catalog can lay open as I'm working. You can have that done at any office supply. And I also have a clear cover on the front, keeps it nice and clean. So just my little helpful tip there. All right, we're gonna start with page 7, which is where the birthday is. Now I like to put all my tabs on the right-hand side of my catalog. If you like to do it differently, just remember your page numbers may change. I'm now going to bring in my very, oh so very important silicone mat and fast fuse. That's what we'll be using to adhere our tabs. So one thing I want you to know is when we start with the first one, it's going to be coming off the page there. So I want to trim this one down. By the way, this is also in the notes on which ones need to be trimmed down. I tell you which ends and which tabs. So we'll start with that one on birthday. When I go to use the fast fuse, remember my tip, guys, a very light hand. And we're just going to go all the way down the side of the tab and give it a flick. Now, if you have any adhesive kind of hanging off the end, we want to make sure it's as clean as possible. And we're going to go ahead and adhere our first one down. Then let me bring that in a little bit better because I'm probably hanging off the edge of the camera. So you can see we can just kind of line that up. When you're happy with it, go ahead and stick it down. Now we're ready. We're going to keep on going. And when we go to our next one, which is thanks, and it's on page 15. So let me flip over to page 15. You can, if you would like, before you get all of these put down, you may want to just sit down and kind of lay them all out, if you will. Get them all down the row so you can see how much spacing you need. But I'm going to zoom the camera in and kind of show you that's about where my spacing is. Just about a fingernail's width works perfect there. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and adhere it down. But as I said, you're welcome to go ahead and maybe just add, a little bit of maybe just a tad of snail adhesive to get the spacing. But let me tell you this, you only need to do it one time all the way down. From there on, we'll be able to use this as a guide as we keep on going. So if you decide to do that, it's just all the way when you go down one time. So let's go ahead and get ready to add thanks. So what I can do before I add the tab, I'm going to bring birthday back over, kind of lining it up. And just like you guys know how I like to do, don't press anything down until you're certain you've got it. So I just have that barely holding on. I'm gonna line it up. Good to go. I'm gonna keep going until I get to the end of my catalog, and then I'll show you another trick. Right now we're at the last one, which is Project Life on page 51. And this is where you're gonna need to do a little bit of trimming. And what you can do when you get to this last one, because you wanna keep all your spacing pretty much the same, and you can trim off this edge to whatever size that you need it to be. All right, so we've got all those on there. We're ready to start again up at the top. And that's where I was saying you can now use the previous tab. Let me go to my right page number 57, and gift packaging. And you can see this one, I can just line it up with the birthday tab, and I'm gonna be able to get that set right where I need it. Now, as you're working, you may find a little bit of that fast fuse has kind of come off the side. This is where an adhesive remover is wonderful. Be very gentle. The pages are thin and we don't want to tear it, so I don't want you to work at it too hard. But you can see the adhesive remover kind of removes that, because as your pages are closed, we don't want that to stick, and it can. So that little adhesive remover is going to be a very good friend as you're working on this project. Another tip I want to share with you is, if you'd like, you can even take, I realize this is not the right one, but you could take the matching Christmas and put it on the opposite side, kind of strengthen up those tabs. You are welcome to do that. Here's another benefit to doubling them up. When you're cutting some of these, remember the one that I told you was a little tight? Well, should you get it a little crooked, that won't be a problem, because you could just maybe put that one on the back side, but it's going to help when your catalog's open. You could see it from both angles. So feel free to print out two and cut out 2 sets of tabs and just make it extra strong that way. Now, when we get to the adhesive and the masks and washi tape, these are both going on the same page. So we need to trim this down, and we're going to trim it awfully close, as you can see. So there's the adhesive side and then the washi tape side. Let me move those, and you can see these can kind of they're just barely going to overlap, or I can trim it down. I might even trim it down just a little bit more. So those can sit here. Let me show you. These are going to sit right here on the page like so. There you have it. Aren't those so easy? And they really do make such a difference in your catalog. I know that you're gonna love them. Guys, thanks so much for being here and being a part of Simply Simple Stamping. I sure do appreciate you. Now remember, after you get your brand new catalog, there's gonna be a lot of new products you're gonna want to order. And you can find those at one place, simplysimplestamping.com. I have an online order button in the upper right-hand corner. Just click it, get all those new things that you need. Guys, if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to be your demonstrator. I'd love to send you a new catalog as well. If you don't have a demonstrator you're currently working with, just drop me an email at connie.stewart@cox.net. I'll be happy to get one mailed out to you. Guys, have a terrific day. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.